أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to all students that are here on time. We're going to start, as we usually do, with our prayers from the Holy Quran. And we're going to do the first prayer. So I'm going to select student N486 to recite the prayer with me. Assalamu alaikum, N486.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today? You well?
I'm well.
Very good, alhamdulillah. So starting with this prayer over here, are you confident enough to recite it yourself?
Ji.
Okay, off you go then.
Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri.
Excellent, Jazakallah. And could you please recite the translation as well?
G. Lord, expand my mind and make my task easy for me.
Excellent. And could you tell your fellow classmates what chapter of the Holy Quran this prayer is from?
Daha 26 to 27.
Excellent. So that's chapter 26, verse 27. Jazakallah. Do you remember what homework was set over the weekend?
No.
No. Okay, so the homework that was set for G2 class was to recite 2 surahs out loud, and that was Surah Al-Haqqa and Surah Al-Ma'arij. So if you haven't been able to do that homework over the weekend, please do try to do it, and also record it in your on the online portal wherever you have to submit your homework on the Talimul-Quran website. Okay.
G.
So that's
excuse me.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep you on there for now, and we're going to go back to our lesson number 2, which is what we were covering last week. So do you remember what was covered in this lesson at all?
G.
Yeah. Could you tell your classmates what rules we covered?
So, like if you're carrying on and there's like tanween or a vertical kasra or normal kasra or normal fatha or vertical fatha or damma or no or a vertical damma, you like have to stop. But if you're doing a fatha with tanween, you have to like just do it like ba or whatever it is. You just do it with one of. You just do it like normally, but like.
So if we look at this example here, let's take. So what's the sign on the meme over here?
Basra.
Basra, excellent. And if you were pausing, how would you read it?
Yom.
Yom, excellent. So what stroke is going to replace the kasra on the meme when you're pausing?
A sukoon.
Sukoon, excellent, well done. So we've basically been looking, all of last week we looked at different circumstances where you have to do the waqf or different ways of pausing in the middle or at the end of the verse. So you did that example. Could you do for me this example over here? So how would you read it normally without stopping?
Nisa.
Yeah, excellent. Just a bit more pausing on the Nisa.
Nisa.
Excellent. And if you're pausing, how is the stroke on the Hamza going to change?
Nisa.
Excellent. So what's replacing the tanween of fatha on the Hamza when you're pausing?
A vertical fatha.
Excellent. Well done. Okay, let's have a go at this example over here. So how would you read it normally?
Ya.
So a bit more prolongation, because remember we've got the alif, which is a letter of prolongation. So how are we going to read it?
Ya.
Excellent, well done. And if we're going to pause, how would we read it?
Iyai.
So not quite iyai, but iyash.
Okay, iyash.
Excellent. And that's exactly the same in this example over here. So the reason why it's not iyai is because we have the alif in the middle over here. If we didn't have the alif, then yes, the ya would take a sukoon and you'd read it as iyai. But because you have the alif over here, this is not a lean letter. So we're going to read it iyash. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and could you try to read this one? So it's exactly the same circumstances here.
Okay. Madwaya.
Yeah, and if you're pausing?
Madway.
Mathwaj.
Waj.
Yeah, excellent. Mathwaj. Okay, well done. And let's do a couple more examples. So over here, how would you read this normally?
Lahunna.
A bit more emphasis. So remember the noon is carrying the shadda. So this is noon mushaddad. So you want to pause on it a little bit and also produce the nasal sound. So try again.
Okay. Lahunna.
Excellent. Lahunna.
Lahunna.
And if you're pausing, what? So you've got the fatha at the moment. What's going to replace the fatha if you're pausing?
A sukoon.
Excellent. So how are you going to read it?
Lahunna.
Well done. Excellent. And let's do one more example then. So this one over here, how would you read this continuously?
Musaffan.
Yeah, well done. And if you're pausing?
Musaffa.
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 Excellent. Well done. Jazakallah. Could you remind me of your ID, please?
N486.
Jazakallah N486. So I'm going to mute you now. And I'm going to select a student from Bal now to do a couple of different examples. So if I can ask A418. Assalamualaikum. A418.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Can you do a few different examples for me? Same exercise. So let's try this one over here.
Musfirah.
So read it as if you were continuously reading it.
Musfiratun.
And if you're pausing,
Musfirah.
well done. And this example continuously.
Ma'ain.
So even though the mad kabir is on the alif, we're reading as ma'in.
Ma'in.
Excellent. And if you're pausing,
Ma.
a slight jerk, a bit more of a jerk at the end, just so you can get the sukoon on the hamza.
Ma.
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 Well done. And this example here.
Banaha.
And if you're going to pause,
Banaha.
well done. And over here,
Maulan.
well done. And if you're pausing,
Maula.
could you explain, so trying to use the right terminology, what's changing? So if you're reading continuously, what's the sign above the lam at the moment?
Tanween.
Tanween. And if you're pausing, how is that going to change?
Vertical fatha.
Excellent. Okay, let's do this example.
Nudiya.
Well done. And here, if you're pausing,
Nudi.
and final one over here.
Al-Ashqa.
And if you're pausing,
Al-Ashqa.
that's really good. Remind me of your ID again, please.
A418.
A418. Were you able to do the homework, A418?
No.
No. So do go back to it. It's chapters. Okay. So it's Surah Al-Ma'arij and Surah Al-Halaqa. So it's just reciting it out loud and applying all the rules from lessons 1 and 2, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Let me mute you. So let's have another student from Nasra now. Let's have N468 if I can find her. I can't seem to see her. Let's try N478. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. N478. N478, can you hear me? N478, are you there? Okay, I don't think she's there. So let's try a different student. Let's have, okay, N455, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Can you hear me okay? Can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So N455, let me just. So today we're going to be doing, we've done this surah before, but we're going to basically focus on applying again all the rules we've learned from lesson 1 and lesson 2. So we're going to be doing Surah Al-Ma'arij again, and this was part of the homework that was set over the weekend. So could you read from Bismillah, we'll start over here, up until verse number 4, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سأل سائل بعذاب واقع للكافرين ليس له دافع من الله ذي المعارج.
So in all of the cases, you did the waqf fine. So here you've got the tanween of kasra, tanween of dhamma, and you've got the jim with the kasra. So in all of them, you correctly made sure that the sukoon would go above the letters. So that was fine. But there were a few mistakes in the prolonging. So for example, over here, I think you prolonged this more than 1 second. So let me just zoom in a little bit. So on the alif, what's the sign on the alif here?
Al-Fatah.
Fatha. So this is going to be just 1 second. So just read this full word for me, please.
Sa'ala.
So again, on the lam as well, we've got fatha. So we want this to be 1 second. So just read it once more for me.
Sa'ala.
Sa'ala. Excellent. So sa'ala.
Sa'ala.
Yeah, brilliant. And on here, what sign do we have? Just remind us.
Ahmad Sakeen.
Not Madbisari, that's the small wavy one. This is
Ahmad Kabir.
excellent, well done. So over here, so you have the lam over here, and then you have the tanween of dhamma above the lam, okay? So ordinarily you might read it as sa'ilun, you would hear the noon sound. But can you see just here, can you see what's above the tanween here?
It's a meme.
It's a little meme, yeah. So what's going to happen is when you join this letter with the ba, which follows, the noon sound of the tanween is going to be replaced by the meme sound, yeah. So the way you're going to read it is sa'ilum bi'adhabin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So ilum bi'adhabin. The meme sound is replacing the noon sound that would come from the tanween, yeah? And we're also going to pause a little bit as we're joining the meme sound to the ba, Okay?
Okay.
So could you just read this section over here again from Sa'ilun?
Okay. Sa'ilum bi'azab.
Sorry, I should have highlighted this as well. That's fine. So Sa'ilun bi'adhabin.
Sa'ilum bi'azabin.
Pause a little bit more on the lum, a little bit, because we're joining it with the ba.
Sa'ilum bi.
Once more, please.
Sa'ilum bi'azabi waqi.
Okay, yeah, so well, let's come on to this. So over here you've got the ba, and what's the sign? It's slightly unclear, but what's the sign underneath the ba?
Tanween.
Yeah, tanween. So this is the tanween of kasra or kasratain. And when you're joining it with the waw, mushaddad, how are we going to read it? Do you remember in lesson 1 we looked at 3 different examples of when we have the tashdid above the letters. So we had the obvious one, which is the mim and the noon, and that was complete full ghunna we're doing. Then we had the example of ra and lam carrying shadda. And here we were not going to make any ghunna sound. And the final example was of ya mushaddad and waw mushaddad. So here in the example we've got in Surah Al-Ma'arij is the example of waw mushaddad, yeah? So in that example, we're going to produce a slight nasal sound, and we're also going to pause for 2 seconds. So we read it as Sa'ilum bi'adhabin waqi'. Can you try from adhabin waqi' for me?
From where?
From here, from adhabin waqi'.
Azabi waqi'.
So remember, after the waw, we've got the alif, which is the letter of prolongation here. Adhabin waqi'.
Azabi waqi'.
Excellent, well done. And over here, what's the sign above the kaf?
Vertical fatha.
Vertical fatha. And how many seconds do we prolong that for? 2 seconds, well done. So just read this phrase for me over here, please.
Lil kafirina.
And just over here again, so we have the word Allah over here. And again, what's above the middle lam in Allah?
Vertical fatha and the tashdid.
Yeah, and tashdid. Excellent. So read again this this whole verse for me, please.
Minallahi zil ma'arij.
Excellent. So good over here, you join the dhal with a kasra directly with the lam sakin. So you recognize that these in the middle were the blank letters. So Minallahi dhil ma'arij.
Minallahi zil ma'arij.
Excellent, well done. So from what I can see, even though there were a few different mistakes, mainly about prolonging, you recognize them and you know the rules. So it's just thinking carefully about them whilst you're reciting, okay?
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Jazakallah. And what was your ID again, please?
N455.
N455. Okay, so I'm going to mute you now, N455. And let's try a student from Athal. A430, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, can you hear me okay, N430?
Yes.
Yeah, and can you see the screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So can you pick up where your classmate left off? So from verse number 5 until the end of verse number 6, please. So from here.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة
well done. So there weren't any obvious mistakes. Your microphone wasn't too clear, but from what I could hear, there weren't any real mistakes at all. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to give you a random place in the verse, and I want you to tell me how you would pause if you were to stop at that word, okay? So, for example, if you wanted to stop here, just for the sake of practicing the rule of waqf, I'm not saying it's correct to stop here, just for sake of practice. If you stopped on ar-ruh, okay? So over here at the moment, what stroke is the ha carrying? What's this? Sorry, repeat it, please.
Samsa.
This is a dhamma on the ha, okay? So the little apostrophe is the dhamma. And if you are going to stop on waruhu, what would change on the ha? What would be the change in the stroke on the ha? Sorry, I'm really struggling to hear you. Is there any way you could speak up a little bit?
Okay.
So do you know what sign would come above the ha if you are pausing? Or could you read it for me if you were going to stop on the ha here? So could you read from the start of this verse up to here to show me how you would pause on this word? Warruh. Okay, so the ha over here, the dhamma sign will be replaced by the sukoon sign, okay? Okay, and just one point I picked up here. So this over here, remember, is Madd Kabir. So we're prolonging it for at least 4 seconds. So we'll read it as تعرج الملائكة والروح. Okay, so a little bit longer on the Madd Kabir. Okay, what about if I wanted to stop over here on this word? So miqdaruhu, if I was continuing. If I wanted to stop here, how would I read this word? So miqdaruh. So again, yeah, well done. So at the moment, the ha is carrying the inverse dhamma, which would be 2 seconds. But if you're pausing, sorry? So the ha will take this.
Okay.
Okay. So miqdara. Excellent. Well done. And just at the end of this verse, so you read it. How would you read this word over here since you're pausing?
Sana.
Sana. Excellent. So the ta marbuta is going to change into a ha sound, and we read it as alfa sana. Okay. Excellent. Well done. Remind me again of your ID, please.
A430.
Jazakallah A430. So I'm going to mute you now, and I'm going to select another student from Nasrat. Okay. N450, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. And can you see the screen well?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So can you start then from verse number 6 up until verse number 8, please?
Okay. Fasbir sabra jamila.
Sorry, just 1 second. Start with Auzubillah.
Oh, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاصبر صبرا جميلا إنهم يرونه بعيدا وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا.
Just read this part again for me.
فَاصْبِرْ صَبْرًا جَمِيلًا. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So just read this verse again for me, please, until Jamila.
فاصبر صبرا جميلا.
Excellent. Yeah, carrying on.
إنهم يرونه بعيدا ونراه قريبا.
Jazakallah. Could you just carry on until verse 11, please, just so we can finish this page?
Okay. يوم تكون السماء كالمهل وتكون الجبال كالعهن ولا يسأل حميم حميما.
Excellent, Jazakallah. So take the role of the teacher, and could you explain in this example over here what's going to be changing, how we're going to pause at the end of this verse?
بعيدا.
Excellent. So we're dropping one of the fatha. So this is the tanween at the moment, the double fatha, and it would just be a single fatha. So we're prolonging for 2 seconds. And over here, what's changed with the lam with kasra at the end of this verse?
You have to change it to sakoon.
Yeah, excellent. And over here as well, noon with kasra.
Sakoon. You have to change it to sakoon as well.
Excellent, well done. And over here, how many seconds are we prolonging for at the end of this verse?
2.
2 seconds, excellent. That's great. And then could you read up until verse 12 then?
Okay. يبصرونهم يود المجرم له يفتدي من عذاب يومئذ بينيه.
So this is, I think this is a bar over here, bibani, okay? And also over here, just to read this from Yawaddu. I just wanted to check something over here.
Okay. يود المجرم له يفتدي.
So that was Haruf Alin letter. So again, we're sort of rounding the sound and reading it quite softly. So al-mujrimu law yaftadi. So excellent, that was fine. Just over here, so again, we've got the example of the tanween of kasra, and we've got the meme above it followed by ba. So how are we going to join these 2 letters?
مئذ.
So there's no shadda, so read it a little bit more soft. Even.
مئذ.
Yep, and again, so we're not going to make the noon sound, which comes from the tanveen. We're going to change it, replace it with a meme sound. So when we join it, it will be yawmi-idhin bibani.
يومئذ ببنيه.
Yep. Slightly more pause on when you're joining the meme sound with the bar. Yawma-idhin bibani.
يومئذ ببنيه.
Yeah, Jazakallah. Yawma-idhin bibani. Excellent. And just remind me of your ID.
N450.
N450.
Thank you.
50, no problem. So I'll mute you now. And let's see who we have from Atfal. Okay, let's have A425. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today, A425?
I'm good.
Good, excellent. So you see what we're doing here, starting from verse number 13 up to verse number 15, please.
Oh, okay.
First.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
وصاحبته وأخيه وفصيلته التي تؤويه ومن في الأرض جميعا ثم ينجيه.
Okay, Jazakallah. So just a few points. So over here, just read this word again for me.
Understand.
Sorry.
وصاحبته.
Excellent. So we corrected that. So what's the stroke just above the ha? Which stroke is
Dhamma.
below that?
Kasra.
Kasra. Excellent. So how many seconds on kasra?
2.
1. 1 second. Excellent. And over here, so looking at the rules that we'll be looking at for pausing, over here the ha has a kasra. If you're pausing, what stroke will it take above it in replacement of the kasra? So how would you read it if you're pausing at the end of that?
Jazam.
Yeah, excellent. Jazm or sukoon. So we will read it as wa akhi. Okay. Exactly the same over here. So the ha with kasra is being replaced by ha sakin. And so when we're joining the jami'an, so a bit more, slightly more time given on the tanween, on the ain. So jami'an thumma. Okay, a little bit more time on the tanween.
Okay.
Apart from that, that was fine, no real problems. Just pay attention to prolonging with the basic strokes of fatha, dhamma, kasra. But apart from that, there were no real issues, okay?
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So you are A425, yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm going to mute you now. And let me select. Okay, assalamu alaikum. N482.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today, N482?
I'm fine, Jazakallah.
Wonderful. So can you start then from verse number 16 over here? So from Kalla up until 20, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كلا إنها لظى نزعة للشوى تدعو من أدبر وتولى وجمع فأوعى إن الإنسان خلق هلوعا.
Okay, Jazakillah. So that was very well read. There are a few points that I want to emphasize. So just over here, this letter here, how would you read it? Just in the alphabet, how does it appear?
Za.
Za. So it's a thick letter, so you're going to round it slightly because you want to make it different to the letter Dhal, okay? So read it as Lava.
Lava.
Excellent. And over here, so we have the letter Zal, and just after it, what's this letter? What follows exactly after it?
It's Alif.
Alif, exactly. And when we have a letter which carries the fatha and is followed by the alif, that becomes a letter of prolongation. So how many seconds are we going to read the Zal for?
2 seconds.
2 seconds, excellent. So nazza'atan.
Nazza'atan.
Good. And over here, so do you remember we looked in lesson number 1 about what happens when we join a tanween sound to lam mushaddad? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's going to change over here when we join the ta with the lam?
You don't say the noon that comes
Excellent. Yeah, well done. And remembering it's also carrying a shadda, so we want we want to read it with a bit of strength. So nazza'atan lishawa. So also remembering the letter which comes directly after the lam mushaddad is the sheen, which is carrying the shadda. So special emphasis on the lam as well as the sheen. Okay. So could you try again just this whole verse for me, please?
Okay. Lishawa.
Excellent, well done. And because we're pausing over here on a waw which carries the vertical fatha, is there going to be any change in how we stop?
Yeah.
What change is that going to be?
It's gonna be like Lishawa.
So there's actually not going to be any change. It's going to stay exactly the same. Yeah, so the length is still going to be 2 seconds. Okay, so nazza'atan lishawa. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, well done. And just over here, I can't exactly remember what your mistake was, but just read this verse again for me until here, please.
Tad'u man adbara wa tawalla.
Excellent, Jazakallah, brilliant. So just pay attention to those points. There weren't any major errors at all, and you properly understand the rules of Waqf as well, so that's good. But just paying attention to a bit more emphasis on the letters which carry the tashdid, okay?
Okay.
Excellent, Jazakallah. And your ID again for me, please?
N482.
Excellent, N482. So I'm going to mute you now, N482. And okay, let's have A434. Assalamu alaikum, A434.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you today, A434?
Fine.
Well, okay, that's great. So starting from, and do all of these. Starting from verse number 19 then, could you continue until verse number 22, please?
Yes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجمع فأوعى إن الإنسان خلق هلوعا إذا مساه الشر جزوعا وإذا مساه الخير منوعا.
Jazakallah. So there are a few points. So first of all, over here, I think you prolonged the meme with fatha a bit too long. So just very simply, wa jama'a.
Yes.
Okay, so read it for me, please. Wa jama'a.
وجمع.
Excellent. Just 1 second on that. And over here, so when we're pausing at the end of the verse, fa'aw'a.
فأوعى.
Excellent. So just 2 seconds on the final word. Over here as well, so we have the lam with the kasra. And how many seconds on just a plain kasra?
1 second.
1 second. Excellent. So you read it as khuliqa, but if it's just 1 second on all of these letters, how long is it going to be?
خلق.
So you've done you've made the dhamma longer here now. So just 1 second. Khuliqa.
خلق.
Excellent. So 2 things you did at the end of this verse, number 20 and verse number 22. So you actually read it as an, but in the other example, over here, you read it correctly. So when we're doing waqf at the end of this, with this ayn with tanween joined with alif, how are we going to pause? So not an. Yeah, excellent. So khuliqa, هلوعا.
خلق هلوعا.
Well done. And just the same over here as well. منوعا.
منوعا.
Yeah, well done. So over here, so again, you've got a situation where you've got quite a few letters that are carrying the tashdid. So again, you have to remember to put a lot of emphasis on all those mushaddad letters. So over here, إذا مسه الشر.
إذا مسه
مسه
الشر.
So remembering again, all of these letters which are carrying the shadda, they just have the basic strokes. So fatha dhamma. So all 1 second each. إذا مسه الشر.
إذا مسه الشر. الشر.
Yeah. So this alif here, again, this is blank. So we're joining the ha with dhamma directly with the sheen, with the fatha and the tashdid. إذا مسه الشر.
إذا مسه الشر. شر.
Well done. And over here again, we have the blank alif here, and we're directly joining the ha with dhamma with the lam sakin. So وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ.
وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ.
Excellent, Jazakallah. So that was fine. Just paying attention then to the basic strokes, fatha, dhamma, kasra, and also putting extra emphasis on those letters that have the shadda on them, okay?
Yes.
Okay, Jazakallah. And your ID again, please?
A434.
Okay, Jazakallah, A434. Let me mute you now. And let's have Nasrat. Okay, let's have N460. Assalamu alaikum, N460.
Wa alaikum salam.
I've not had you today, have I, so far?
No.
Okay, good. So starting then from verse number 23 at Illa. Just over here until verse number 26, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إلا المصلين الذين هم على صلاتهم دائمون والذين في أموالهم حق معلوم للسائل والمحروم.
So just over here, again, you made a mistake that the previous one did as well. So over here, we have the waw with a fatha followed by alif. So that makes it a letter of prolongation, a madda letter. So just read again this word for me, please.
أموالهم.
Excellent. So you read it correctly there, which shows me you definitely know the rule. So 2 seconds, أموالهم. And over here then, so you have the qaf with the shadda and also the tanween of dhamma, yeah? And followed by that, you have the mim mushaddad. So again, in this example, the noon sound which comes from the tanween, it's going to be masked and it's going to be replaced by the mim sound, okay? So we read it as haqqum ma'loom.
حق معلوم.
Well done. And remembering, because we've got the mim mushaddad, it's prolonging it for 2 seconds. Well, not prolonging, but pausing on it for 2 seconds and also producing a slight nasal sound. حق معلوم.
حق
مألون.
Well done. And just one point that I picked up here, because this is Madd Kabir and you've got the Madd Saghir not too far after, we just want to make a bit of a differentiation. So make this a lot longer. So Salatihim Daimun.
صلاتهم دائمون.
Okay, excellent. So well done. That was quite good. Just paying attention. There weren't any major errors again, but it's just carrying on practicing and regularly reciting the Quran. Okay?
I also have a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
If there's a letter with a ashbaya and there's also a madda on top, will we add the timing of the prolongation?
That's a good question, actually. I would give preference to the Madd Kabir, but also let me double check that for you, and I'll ask the teacher tomorrow to confirm that, but I would give the time to the Madda. So with Madda, the minimum is 4 seconds, but you can prolong up to about 6 seconds. So it's at least 4. That's the main thing that you want to get if you ever see a Madda above a letter, okay?
Okay.
But I will definitely ask the next teacher tomorrow to let you know once I've confirmed that for you, okay?
Okay.
Jazakallah. And your ID again for me, please? N460, is it?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So let me mute N460. Okay, let's have A428. Assalamu alaikum. A428. A428, can you hear me?
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum
He's not here right now.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You're N475, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Have you read today N475?
No, I haven't.
Okay, would you like to read?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's go to verse number 27. So starting from Walladina up until Ghayrum Maqbool, please.
Okay. والذين يصدقون بيوم الدين والذين هم من عذاب بربهم مشفقون إن عذاب ربهم خير مأمون.
Jazakallah. So again, no major problems as such, just a bit more fluency because you read quite well anyway, but you sort of took a break in the middle of verses, which is common at the start, but that's fine. Just when you're increasing in your fluency, inshallah, that shouldn't be a problem. Over here, could you just read this phrase over here for me, please, from Adhabi.
Azabi Rabbihim.
Okay, excellent. So remembering we're prolonging for 2 seconds because of the alif acting as a letter of prolongation. Just over here as well, if you could read from Yusaddiquna until the end of the verse, please.
Yusaddiquna biyawmiddin.
Excellent. So again, there's to be a bit more emphasis on the dal with the shadda. So yusaddiquna.
Yusaddiquna.
Okay, and over here then, so adhabi rabbihim, so the meme sakin is joining with the meme mushaddad, so more emphasis and a slight nasal sound on the meme mushaddad. So could you start from adhabi rabbihim until the end of the verse, please? N475, can you still hear? N475, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you. I just couldn't hear you for a second.
Okay, sorry. So just start from adhabi until the end of the verse, please.
Azabi Rabbihim mushfiqun.
Okay, so over here, just remembering Rabbihim, Ra, ba, and ha, they all have the fatha or the kasra, so that's just 1 second. So rabbihim, yeah, we don't want to prolong the ba or the ha in any way, just rabbihi, okay? Because you're joining directly with the meme mushaddad, you need to have a lot more emphasis on your meme. So adhabi rabbihim mushfiqun, okay? Rabbihim mushfiqun, more emphasis on this meme, okay? Could you just read again from Adhabi to the end of the verse, please?
Can't hear you again.
Okay, just read again from Adhabi until the end of the verse. Okay, I think she's struggling to hear me, but that's fine. So N475, I'm just going to put you on mute for now. But just one point to bear in mind, especially because the meme mushaddad is coming on the next line. Just be mindful and sort of try to read ahead to see what the next letter is. So Adhabi rabbihim mushfiqun. Again, there were no other major issues as such in the end, but again, emphasis on the ba with kasra and the shadda, rabbihim. So what I'll do is I will give the mic to one final student from Atfal. Let's have A4. Okay, A416. Assalamu alaikum. A416. Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam.
Okay. Can you? Have I picked you? I haven't picked you in this class yet, have I?
No.
Okay, that's fine. So could you start from verse number 30? Start with verse number 30 until 31, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت يمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين.
So a couple of points. Just read this word again for me over here, please.
Illa.
So remembering, we have the lam, which carries the fatha, and it's joined directly with the alif. So it's going to be 2 seconds, okay? Illa.
Okay.
So 2 seconds there. And again, over here, azwajihim. So you're going to prolong the waw with fatha for 2 seconds because alif again is a letter of prolongation, okay? So azwajihim.
Azwajihim.
Yeah. And same over here, oh ma, we want both of these to be 2 seconds with equal timing, okay?
Oh.
And, I think my other highlightings disappeared. So just read from just this line over here, please.
Okay. فإنهم غير ملومين.
Excellent, well done. So that was well recited. Again, just remember, you haven't got any problems with the sort of more advanced rules, but it's just remembering when you have the madda letters that you prolong for 2 seconds. Just remember to give it the right amount of time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So if you could also help me then, looking at this square over here, please. Are you happy to read it on your own?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم ارحمني بالكل أن العظيم.
Okay, Jazakallah. So just a point here, the lam here, above it, it's not a dhamma, it's a sukoon, yeah? The dhamma is the apostrophe type one, which is on the qaf. So this is Allahumma arhamni bil Quran, okay? This is not bilu, bil Quran, okay? And also above the alif, it's the vertical fatha. So bil Qur'ani, 2 seconds, okay?
Okay.
And so I'm just going to read this, and if you could repeat after me. وَجَعَلْهُ لِي
وَجَعَلْهُ لِي
إِمَامًا
إِمَامًا
وَنُورًا
وَنُورًا
وَهُدًى
وَهُدًى
وَرَحْمَةً.
وَرَحْمَةً.
Excellent. And just read the translation for me, please.
O Allah, have mercy on me through the great Quran,
Yeah, and the second one.
and make it for me the leader, the light, the guidance, and the mercy.
Excellent. Jazakallah. And you are A416, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Jazakallah to all students. So today was very much a revision lesson, and it's just to see how various students are applying the rules from lessons 1 and also from lessons 2. So lessons on pausing, and then all the various rules that we learned from the 20 common recitational errors. So inshallah, we'll be moving forward with tomorrow's lesson, and I hope to see you all then. So that's 7 till 8 p.m. tomorrow. So now we'll end the meeting. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.